turkey's being cooked. The pumpkin pie and cranberry sauce are being placed on the table. Red, orange, and yellow leaves fall outside where the family decides to compete on a battlefield that is here for the annual event. It is time. It is time for some good old family football. The family has even extended out and allowed these 28 candidates to play in the Thanksgiving tradition. Now, what traits does a person need though to lead their side to earn yearly bragging rights? Passion, intelligence, resilience, endurance, skills, strength, and of course, I'm gonna note the position they would play in. And now of note, I will not be going over the Warrior Dream bosses or the variants of like the main bosses, just the normal and DLC bosses. Now let's hop right in and see who is a pigskin player and who is a football flop. We kick things off with a maggot who stole some armor, the False Knight. The maggot that dons the armor did so to defend his siblings from everything, which of course shows the passion instilled within him to take on Uncle Roger, who can always shed the block. I think the False Knight has decent strength and resilience, but I do have to question the endurance and overall skills of him, as he does not seem to be able to do anything besides his same basic movesets and collapses after taking a few blows. He will need to be prepared to take on the familial foes when 3 Mississippi has passed and they are sent on an all-out blitz. Of course, the False Knight would be some sort of offensive lineman, probably a guard or a tackle with his strength and armor, and with that, we're going to kick things off and place him into the B tier. We move to the Gru's mother, who is equivalent to Aunt Charlize, who's 8.5 months pregnant. Now, she has the diminished strength, 0 endurance, and a lack of passion. She is one that I know we would assign her the position of cheerleader / audience because she is not going to get up and go play some family football. Sorry to the pregnant women audience out there, but I will just have to put the Gru's mother all the way at the bottom into the F tier. She's going to be picked last for either team. From mother to father, we meet the Vengefly King, who likes to pick and bite on Zote like Sammy likes to chew on some green bean casserole. Now, the Vengefly King has an intense passion that I can respect. He does not really have any skills due to him only having 2 basic attacks, but he could be a decent team captain as he does rally the fellow Vengeflies. Now, I am not too impressed by his intelligence or resilience, but his passion makes me think he would be okay as a defensive captain linebacker. Overall though, the Vengefly King is not too impressive, so I'm gonna throw him into the D tier. The classic daughter of the Pale King, Hornet, is up. Of course, her passion to protect the Hollow Nest and her strong sense of justice and good nature is so strong that she will gladly do whatever it takes to ensure that her team secures the yearly bragging rights before they go and enjoy a good meal and good company. She has everything perfected. She has passion, she has strength, she has resilience, she has the pigskin in the end zone before you can blink. She seems to be great at speed as well as protecting, so I think she would be a good run blocking tight end. And of course, I'm gonna give Hornet the high honors of making it all the way into the top, into the S tier. The big green bush moving machine known as the massive Moss Charger is one that I think would be great in terms of strength and resilience, but like the False Knight, does not have the intelligence or wit to really do anything more. Now, the False Knight did at least have the intelligence to steal some armor, but the massive Moss Charger, even with the combined 4 minds of just normal Moss Chargers, can only either run or jump and run. Of course, that means that it would be an excellent goal line fullback that can run over Cousin Terry and ensure that we get 6 points. But other than that one scenario, it is pretty bland, and so I will give the massive Mole Charger a mid tier and place it into the C tier. We move to the 3 sisters who lead the Manus tribe, the Manus Lords. They have the extreme speed and the skills that makes me immediately impressed as a family football scout. I find their leadership and unwavering dedication to their tribe to be inspiring, and know they all have what it takes to put us up 3 scores in a matter of minutes. The Manus Lords are incredible at just about everything, and are even good sports when the knight beats them in combat. So you know that they will shake hands even with Aunt Miranda, who likes to talk so much trash. The Manus Lords seem to be capable with their extreme speed and intelligence to be great at being cornerbacks, and with that, I will go ahead and give them the highest tier of S tier. So now we go to the Life Force stealing Soul Warriors, who love to steal soul and contort it to enhance their abilities. Now, this difficult boss has an extreme intelligence and strength, but a bad sportsmanship and wicked-minded mentality that makes me question their passion, as it is probably misguided and not all there to begin with. They would win, yes, but would be the bug that celebrates for too long and draws the unsportsmanlike conduct. The Soul Warrior could easily get a step ahead of Uncle Dan as some sort of fast wide receiver, and the Warrior is not perfect, but it's almost perfect, so I will give it the A tier. Just work a little bit on that passion there, Soul Warrior. From Warrior to the Master, we find the Soul Master, who decided that soul is delicious and nutritious and decided to hoard it all to himself for some sweet new soul powers. All in all, I find the Soul Master to be about the same as the Soul Warrior for the Thanksgiving football game though, although he might be a tiny bit crazier and might like stiff arm little Timmy when he tries to make the tackle. The Soul Master would be a decent punt or kickoff returner, dashing and dodging willy-nilly to give good field position, but I'm going to follow up and I'm going to place the Soul Master into the A tier as well. Mr. Gross and Stinky, known as the Dung Defender, is one who, although he does acknowledge and apologize to the knight for his battle, and seems to have a fantastically noble heart, simply has disgusting habits and smells that make it that he would not be invited to the family gathering for Thanksgiving to begin with. Sorry, Mr. Dung Defender, you're gonna have to eat some cranberries out of a can at your house. F tier. We move to the Windy Basin where we meet the broken vessel who met its tragic end and is now filled with the infection and forced to attack the knight. Now this poor infected fellow is one that I think has the worst passion, as it is probably being forced against its will to do everything since it is infected, but it does have a decent strength, endurance, and resilience, but is otherwise not the greatest in any of the other categories. The broken vessel would be good as a running back, simply as it is the most injured position and the broken vessel can just like take any punishment and would continue on against the actual vessel's will. I'm going to place the broken vessel as a mid-tier candidate and put it into the C tier. Now we have the bench blocking Crystal Guardian, who has been reanimated by the infection and now is Crystal Iron Man. It has no real ability that shines though, just an overall mid-tier candidate who I think would just laze about while the entire game happens and is the one who's just staring off into space and at the butterflies and whatnot. If it did play, I would think of it as a free safety who would shoot the football out of the sky when it is thrown, which enrages the entire family and forces the Crystal Guardian to sit at the kids' table during the actual meal. Overall, I'm just not all that impressed with the Crystal Guardian, so I'm afraid I'll keep it out of the F tier, but I'm going to put it into the D tier. Next up is the Brooding Moloch, a bestial creature that has lost its sanity from the infection and pure loneliness. Now, I know that purely inviting the Moloch would be an incredibly nice act on its own, as it would finally have some company over the holidays, but the Moloch likes to attack, and so I think that it is good for resilience and passion, yes, but it is so overwhelming that no one would want to play football, as it is simply too feral and would lash out too much. I just cannot see anything good tossing the old pigskin at the Brooding Moloch would do, so I mean, I'm not going to even give it a position, and I'm going to place it at the bottom into the F tier. Sorry, pal. Next up is the mother of all flukes, Flukemarm. Now, she's going to be the one that is just hanging over the entire feast and continually eating every bite of food that she can scrounge up, and may even try and consume Grandmama. I mean, this is going to be a no-brainer F tier. It's not going to play or anything. Let her just eat her food and not even notice that football is going on. So now we previously talked about the Mantis Lords, and now we move to their brother, who has simply accepted the infection instead of fighting against it, known as the Traitor Lord. He to me is just a stronger but slower variant of his sisters, but of course does have the questionable mentality of accepting the infection in an attempt to gain some strength and whatnot. Now, he is quite a brute, which makes me think he would be a great nose tackle due to his constant dash abilities. I mean, maybe he can shed Uncle Jimbo's block and get the sack, but the Traitor Lord does not seem to be quite as capable in the family football event as his sisters, so I will drop him down a couple of tiers and place him into the B tier. We move to the Voidborn Collector, who dances and prances around like it has already scored a touchdown and is wanting to show the fam its celebration. It is one that I immediately question in terms of sanity, and seems to be a candidate that I, for one, think would be great at distracting, but otherwise wouldn't have its head in the game. The Collector is too far gone to make any sort of real impact on the game, but I can see it being somewhat of a good field goal blocker, if not to at least distract Aunt Sarah and her kicking skills. I'm just going to place the Collector as a mid-tier candidate and throw it into the C tier. So now is the giant fly of the Coliseum of Fools, the Oblobble, who likes to spray and pray and make the fight against the both of them pure madness. Now, an Oblobble is just a giant fly with no real brain, but it does have the brawn and resilience to, at the bare minimum, compete against an opponent. The Oblobbles have a single mate for life, so there is the extreme loyalty and passion that I find so amazing. The Oblobble could perform as the center, as it would rather be squashed like a bug than let their quarterback take a hit. So I find that the no brains, all passion Oblobble decent enough to at least place into the A tier as my dark horse for the video. Sure, they may fly around and annoy everyone, but they have a job to do and they're gonna do it. We move from one giant fly to a husk that is animated by a swarm of flies, the Watcher Knight. Now the whole gang of them boils down to them like previous entrants having all bronze and no brains. Not to mention I do not find a giant group of flies at the Thanksgiving feast to be very desirable. They do, however, have the passion to protect and do at least have the resilience and strength to be part of the D-line, as I think all of them can stop the run game. But overall though, I'm not too impressed by the Watcher Knights, so I'm gonna give them the D tier. The Shapeshifter Nosk is next, of which I think it could deploy its abilities to let our team cruise on to an easy win. Just let it line up as a slot receiver, and when the now divorced Randy decides to cover it, it could just shapeshift to his wife and let the emotional damage do the work. Nosk is extremely intelligent, has a good amount of strength, and a misguided but still fiery passion to devour. I mean, hopefully it will devour some delicious pumpkin pie instead of, you know. Although Nosk has an evil temperament, I find that it would be A tier material. Simply due to the manipulative abilities that have a multitude of uses on the football field. So next is the intelligent jellyfish Umu. Now, if anyone out there can develop a position for Umu to play at, I'm all ears. But otherwise, Umu can either be the towel boy or simply the coach designing the play calls by drawing them on the football. This jellyfish really has no true substance to actually play though, and therefore it's going to go into the bottom, into the F tier. The defender of the deceased queen, the Hive Knight, is the next candidate who seems to fulfill all categories to the fullest extent. He is honorable and would be the one letting little Timmy get his playtime in. He is strong and could easily do whatever we need to with his versatility. He could bring in some honey for some delicious honey baked ham. He has the fiery passion to defend even though his queen has been gone for a long time. The Hive Knight would be the player who would perform at any position and overall would be about the equivalent in my mind as Hornet, so that's going to place him into the S tier. So now we have Zoth the Mighty. Just get in the rocking chair and enjoy the show, you old coot. F tier. Following that up, we meet the God Tamer and her trusty steed. Now, immediately note that she is small in stature, but makes up for her frail strength with one big old beast. She is the final boss of the Coliseum of Fools, which already speaks out for her abilities as a warrior. These abilities, the passion and the intensity, are necessary to ensure that Grandpa Mikey gets clocked when he tries and dives for the first down. Now, the only issue I have with the God Tamer is that once her beast is defeated, she just kind of keels over, but otherwise, she's an excellent candidate. Give her and her trusty steed the position of outside linebacker, as she can be quite versatile, and give her the A tier. So now we move to the first DLC boss, Grim, the Master of the Circus and the Traveler of Dreams. Now, Grim just does not have the appeal or makings of a varsity athlete, but has the mentality at least to try and one-up one of his opponents. I think he couldn't handle too much, though, and would get bulldozed over as a strong safety. I mean, sorry, Grim, you just seem to be like a mid-tier candidate to me, and therefore I'm going to place him in the middle and throw him into the C tier. So now we find the Godmaster DLC bosses Oro and Mato, which I will note that they are near perfect for some good old football. I mean, they just aren't as perfect as the following two candidates. Into discussion. Give them the offensive tackle positions and give them the A tier. Do not question me on this one. Similar to the other two brothers, do not question me about the more artistic Paintmaster Shio. He can easily play the position of the left or right guard and is a little bit more perfect to me. I'm going to throw him all the way at the top into the S tier. So now we have the Master Splinter teacher known as the Great Nail Sage Sly, who is going to be the ultimate perfect candidate in everything. I do not care about his size. Look at that nail and tell me that he would not be able to do anything needed to such a fantastic degree that it would bring the family to tears. Sly is one who I would think would be the perfect elusive back due to his size and speed. And of course, he goes into the S tier as well. No question. I mean, isn't it funny when we fight a boss whose name is the video game title? The Hollow Knight, whose impurities led to the destruction of Hallownest, is the ultimate zombie influenced by the Radiance and therefore the perfect vessel to do as it is told. Let the Hollow Knight do what it is told to do and sit back and enjoy the fireworks. So this is one where the passion is going to be non-existent whatsoever, but everything else is pretty much there. I find that the Hollow Knight, while being controlled by the Radiance, would want to be the one who seals away a victory, and therefore I'm going to give the Hollow Knight the position of being a kicker who would make even like 70-yard field goals. Without the passion though, I am going to knock it down a couple tiers and place it into the B tier. And so now we move to the final true boss of the game, the Moth Woman, Radiance, who's last on this list. Now, as the ultimate being who wants all creatures to have minds without thought, she is the perfect boss to lead this team and instruct the team to do exactly as she says. She's tall enough to look over the O-line, she would know every play call by heart from her intelligence, and she would have a perfect passer rating as the ultimate family Thanksgiving quarterback. Now, the Radiance may not have her heart in the mind place like similar contestants, but she has a passion that burns like no other. And with that, I have no issue with giving the Radiance the highest tier of S tier. And another tier list down. We now know who is capable to be the best players for the upcoming Thanksgiving family football game. Tune in next time for another tier list that is sure to knock your socks off. Enjoy your time with your family and loved ones, and enjoy a time to be thankful and count your blessings. Before the video ends, I'll ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, folks, adios.